welcome. You're watching the Newsroom Agenda. I'm Padmaja Joshi. The first day of the second half of Parliament's budget session was practically washed out today. The reason? Rahul Gandhi's comments in London, where he said that democracy is in danger and the opposition is being silenced. The Prime Minister yesterday had criticized these comments obliquely in his Karnataka speech, but today, union ministers inside Parliament in the Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha took on the former Congress president directly, demanding nothing less than an unconditional apology from him.
राहुल गांधी ने लंदन में जाकर भारत को बदनाम करने की कोशिश की है और कहा है कि भारत में लोकतांत्रिक व्यवस्था पूरी तरह से तहस-नहस हो रही है। अध्यक्ष महोदय, मैं आपसे यह मांग करता हूं कि पूरे सदन के द्वारा उनके इस व्यवहार को कंडेम किया जाना चाहिए और उनको ये आपके द्वारा निर्देश दिया जाना चाहिए कि संसद के फोरम पर आकर वह क्षमा याचना करें। अध्यक्ष महोदय,
इस सदन के एक सदस्य श्रीमान राहुल गांधी विदेश के धरती पे जाके एक तो स्पीकर के ऊपर अस्पर्शन, कास्ट अस्पर्शन ऑफ द स्पीकर, चेयर के ऊपर आरोप लगाते हैं सर। उनका माइक पूरा चालू था सर, शुरू था। जब आपने उनका पूरा मौका दिया, उन्होंने पूरा बोला। मैं इनसे पूछना चाहता हूं, when the fundamental rights are suspended during the emergency, who was in power sir? डेमोक्रेसी का क्या हो गया था?
भारत के लोकतंत्र के ऊपर प्रहार करता है, एक प्रकार से पूरे देशवासियों का और सदन का अपमान किया है, और वो भी विदेशी जमीन पर। भारत में फ्रीडम ऑफ स्पीच है, भारत में सदन में हर एक मेंबर अपनी बात रखता है, और मैं समझता हूं कि सभी जो लोग इस विषय में विश्व भर में देख रहे हैं, सभी से माफी मांगनी चाहिए।
विदेशों में जाकर के भारत के लोकतंत्र को, भारत के संसद को, भारत को अपमानित करने का, गाली का काम किया, इन पर तो देशद्रोह का मुकदमा चलना चाहिए।
Now, while the Congress insists that there is nothing wrong in what Rahul Gandhi has said, and he's only stating the obvious, let Congress leader and Rajasthan in charge to exhort his party workers to finish off the BJP and Modi. Listen in for yourself to how democracy was at work when SS Randhawa spoke.
अगर डिसिप्लिन आ जाएगा, अडानी को हम एक दिन में ही हिंदुस्तान से निकाल देंगे। मोदी निकल गया तो अडानी खत्म हो गया। और यार भैंस पार लो, यूं तो साथ ही मर जाएंगी। पहले बीजेपी को मार लो, अडानी साथ ही मर जाएगा। आप अडानी कर रहे हो, मोदी करो, कि मोदी देश का बेड़ा गर्क कर रहा है, मोदी देश को बेच रहा है। हमारी लड़ाई अडानी के साथ नहीं है, हमारी ये लड़ाई बीजेपी के साथ है। बीजेपी को मारो, अडानी अंबानी साथ ही मर जाएंगे। तो उसके बाद ऐसा होना चाहिए कि जब कांग्रेस आए, अडानी अंबानी नहीं आने चाहिए, इनको अंदर जेल जानी चाहिए, जेल में जाने चाहिए, कहीं लीडर इनको साथ लेकर ना चल पड़े।
So that brings us to the question, if the current state of India shows us that democracy is dead, then what exactly is the ideal model of democracy that the Congress wants in India? What is the democracy that the left, the CPM, admires? Is it the one that is espoused by the likes of Xi Jinping and SS Randhawa?
You're watching the News Hour at 10, debate number 1 on Times Now, Super Prime Time.
All right, joining us on the debate, we have Shazia Almi, spokesperson of the BJP, Suhail Seth, columnist, Dr. Suman C. Raman, political analyst, Shubhransh Rai.
Not discriminate on the basis of religion. You move ahead with times, you are modern, you are progressive, you are scientific, you have women rights, you have worker rights, you have farmer rights. That is an ideal democracy where votes are not garnered by manipulations, muscle power and money power. That is an ideal democracy. And unfortunately, right now, when we saw how Pawan Kheda was whisked away, almost from the airplane on a frivolous charge, that is not democracy that we want. We don't want a democracy in which our Prime Minister...
Pinarayi Vijayan extends revolutionary greetings to President Xi Jinping on his re-election as the President of People's Republic of China. It is truly commendable that China has emerged as a prominent voice in global politics. Best wishes for the continued efforts to achieve a more prosperous China. Is that the democracy that we are trying to aspire to in our dead little democracy of India?
I did not know that we were an American colony where it was only right for us to praise the Americans and the Europeans and their companies and their technologies and become their dalals and get them over here in the name of Make in India. I thought we are a free country.
तो क्या ही बात कर रहे हैं आज FATF की रिपोर्ट आई है चलिए अभी ये सब let's not use these words. But anyway, coming back to democracy, Vivek Srivastava, hold on a second. So.
Now you are circumventing it. Let me speak.
No, I'm not circumventing. I am just reminding you because we are, and rightly so, we are very harsh about, the state of democracy in India. Let me actually read to you from a US State Department report and an article it quotes from June 3rd, 2020 about the great democracy that China is. And it is being hailed and it is being wished the very best of luck for continued prosperity. In China, a group of human rights activists and lawyers arrested on July 9. You can't use the term Great Firewall of China because describing and discussing censorship is in itself censored in China. Dictatorship, you can't use that word online. Tiananmen, for obvious words. June 4 for obvious reasons because the Tiananmen Square happened that day. And the tank man, which is the famous image of an unidentified Chinese man who stood in front of a column of tanks. So pathetic as India's democracy may be, I'm still trying to understand what exactly is so beautiful in China's model of democracy that we must aspire to. Other than, of course, censoring Winnie the Pooh and Bao.
I'll tell you. No, see, you can be selective and I can also quote New York Times, I can quote the BBC and I can quote XYZ foreign journals, American journals, European journals, which are showing India in a very bad light. But that is not the right way to take the discussion. You need to understand the world is having
showing India in light. These are actual words you cannot use in China. And since you're talking about equal rights of people, let's not even talk about the 3 million Muslims who are in behavioral camps in Xinjiang. I'm sure you would have read about it.
So I just want to come into this debate.
It's not a question of reading. Why don't you see the other way of it?
I wish Pinarayi Vijayan ji, Vivek Srivastava ji, I wish Pinarayi Vijayan just put in a word for the Uyghur Muslims of China to be allowed to use the word Muhammad because they can't use the word Muhammad as their first name in China.
No, that is your imagination. That is your imagination. You should be first concerned about the Haridwar Dharm Sansad.
No, it's actually there.
You should be first concerned about the Haridwar Dharm Sansad and Jantar Mantar Naraz.
Concerned, Abhi Ola. No.
Mulle kaate jayenge. I think you should be concerned about that first and put your house in order first.
Cognizant of the fact, I think you and I don't need to worry. You and I don't need to worry too much because the courts are very much cognizant of the fact.
No, I need to worry for my nation, madam. I need to worry. Where minorities are becoming second-rate citizens, I need to worry.
Okay, so
I am worried.
Here is the difference, sir. Here is the difference. You will talk about one Haridwar Dharm Sansad, after which FIRs were filed. 2 people, including Wasim Tyagi and the person who organized the Dharm Sansad, were sent to jail. As opposed to the behavioral camps in China, which are a state policy.
No,
this is not some random loony running around organizing Dharm Sansads and pretending to be the Thekedar of all Hindus, which they are not. They are not. As opposed to China, as a policy, taking Uyghur women and marrying them to Han Chinese and not allowing you to wear a skull cap and not allowing you to keep a beard and not allowing you to read the Quran. That's the democracy that you laud. That is
an American propaganda which you want to buy, you buy. I don't buy that propaganda.
It's not propaganda.
No, that is an American propaganda. You want to be
Vivek, you lie about the truth of China.
If America and NATO just ditched Ukraine,
you lie about the truth of China, and you create lies about India.
Shazia, I'll give you full time to respond. Right at the outset, let's get few things clear. Do you, Vivek Srivastav, think that China is a better democracy than India?
Look, China is a communist state. It is not a democracy in the sense that India is, number one.
Do you believe as a model of governance, China is better than India, which of course right now is the bottom of the barrel when it comes to democracy? Do you believe China is here and India is here?
But yes, they are manufacturing. Yeah. No, let me tell you, I do not know about here and there. All I will tell you is they are a communist state. It's a single party rule. You cannot compare it to our way of democracy because we are different kind of a constitution. Number two, they are an economic, a political and a defense superpower. It's a bipolar world. They are the only ones apart from Russia which can counter an imperialist America.
Is hailing China and flagellating India. Surely he finds one better than the other, right? So I'm asking you to help me understand that if India is a dead democracy, how does China get lauded as a powerful global voice?
I mean, they are a powerful voice. Everybody knows it. Everybody knows it. It's not hidden. If there is an axis which is opposite of the America-Israel European axis, it is the Russian, the Chinese, the Cubans, the Vietnamese and many others who are together. And I praise Dr. S. Jaishankar. I praise Dr. S. Jaishankar of purchasing fuel from Russia, going against the American wishes, looking at the interest of India.
You are actually not, you're saying a lot,
we belong.
but you are not answering any of my questions. I think by your prevarication itself, you have made quite clear. You've made quite clear where your sympathy lies. Shazia Almi, you wanted to respond. Yes, go on. Then I really want to open this up. Yes.
So first of all, I mean, I think it's a matter of great shame, and that Rahul Gandhi had to go out of the country and on foreign soil brought heaps of shame, not just to India or the Indian democratic institutions, which includes the Parliament and the EC and Supreme Court, but also to himself, being a parliamentarian and somebody who's literally in charge of a party which has governments, in Rajasthan and Himachal. That's one. Two, Pinarayi Vijayan. All the rights that were mentioned by Vivek Srivastav about farmers, women's, peasants, Adivasis. I mean, has there ever been any time that the freedom has been stifled, but in emergency? And in certain states, yes, I can talk.
You bring up the emergency. Suman Raman.
What is happening?
In fact, both Harivanshji and Jagdeep Dhankar, when responding to Mr. Gandhi, said if there was one time when truly democracy was close to perishing, it was in the emergency. Far from what we are seeing in 2023.
And the Congress party, Padmaja, the Congress party has accepted that multiple times after the emergency. They have themselves said that it was a mistake.
Actually,
the point really is,
they haven't.
I think that there is
You're so wrong there. We don't have to go too far back. Hold on, Dr. Raman. Right now, barely a week ago, at that meeting of Indian journalists in the UK, Mr. Gandhi was asked about the emergency. No. So when you say that the Congress has accepted it was a mistake, let me actually play for you what Mr. Gandhi said about the emergency in London barely a week back. Listen to him.
But that's not something that has just come out in the last 9 years. It's not something which is new. There is a historicity to anything. So
no, what is
in a sense can we say that it's something which has just started?
No, what is something that
silencing the media?
Absolutely. I mean, it has never ever been done at the scale that it's being done. There were periods when there were aberrations, but this is.
I apologize for the emergency. It was a mistake. Rahul Gandhi, 13th May 2019.
I just played out
in an exclusive
what Mr.
interview,
Gandhi said
Rahul
when asked
Gandhi
about the emergency
admitted that
last week.
imposing emergency was a big mistake.
I just played for you what the man said.
Emergency was a mistake, says Rahul Gandhi.
He said it is an aberration when asked about large-scale crackdown on the media. He said it's an aberration.
13th May 2019.
He just called it an aberration. When specifically asked about his comments on democracy dying, he said what's happened now has never happened earlier. And that was an aberration. Far from just the crackdown on media, sir, let me quote to you what did happen during this aberration. There were houses that were demolished in Turkman Gate. Men were picked up whole-scale and were sterilized. And by the way, this is not the first time. Earlier also, we've had Congress leaders say that emergency was an aberration for family planning.
Can be more clear? You can say aberration in various ways, Padmaja. It doesn't change the fact that I apologize for the emergency and it was a mistake is the most unequivocal statement that anyone can make. And if you don't want to believe it, I can send you the links, the sources. It's all over. Not once, not once.
When I just played Mr. Gandhi.
You said it almost on half a dozen occasions. Half a dozen occasions.
All right. So he'll say
selectively
the Congress has apologized wholeheartedly as quoted by Dr. Suman Raman. Then clearly they have the right to now ask questions when the shoe is on the other foot. They recognize the evil, so they see it in 2023.
Let him stop speaking, only then will I speak. I don't want to be interrupted. Let him finish his...
That he apologized.
Yeah. Okay, got it? Yeah,
yes,
got it?
Go on.
Thanks. Now let me say what I have to say. I really don't care, and I'm not a big critic of Rahul Gandhi for his comments because everyone is allowed a criticism. My issue is slightly different. My issue is you don't ask for validation from countries that you had once upon a time either decried or obtained freedom from. I don't need the EU or the United Kingdom or anyone to validate my democracy. Number two, let's imagine Rahul Gandhi is an unhappy person in Indian democracy. The best thing, and trust me, this I say it seriously, the best thing for him would have been to resign as a member of parliament and say, I have no faith in the parliamentary system of democracy in India and relinquish all his privileges. I'm not even going there about the emergency. That's been done to death. It's past. I don't say whether someone has apologized, not apologized. That boat has sailed. But Padmaja, there are some serious issues when he talks about two things. Number one, seeking validation. And number two, saying all the institutions have failed. Because if all the institutions have failed, you as Rahul Gandhi are also a leader. You represent a political party and a party which has contributed majorly to India's evolution. For you to then say that today I have no faith in any Indian institution, what do you leave the average citizen with? Apart from the illogicality when you have two governments that have been formed within the mechanism of that same democracy. So my issue is that. My other issue is that you don't knock your country because you hate the prime minister. Then you talk about Modi, you discuss Modi abroad. You say that I believe his policies are this, his policies are that, BJP's policies are this. But to paint an entire country with one brush, saying we are now living in a non-democratic environment, to my mind is silly. My last point, a lot of the media has made a lot of noise about Pinarayi Vijayan's complimenting China. Let me tell you, Pankaj, you're much younger. The communists forever have been doing that. You know, we were born and raised in Calcutta. Jyoti Basu would compliment the Chinese, even if they, were successful in blowing a balloon. I have no issues with that either. Pinarayi Vijayan is an elected chief minister within our democratic purview, and he has the right to congratulate China. He has to live with his conscience whether he actually believes that China is the final outpost. Now, Vivek said rightly that they are an economic superpower. They are a defense superpower. God be with them, fine. My issue, very limited to your program headline, is I don't think this should have happened. And my final point, Padmaja, is the political discourse in this country is at an abysmal level. everyone has contributed. Every party leader, everyone. It is going from bad to worse. What Sukhjinder Randhawa has said is reprehensible. These are the kind of people who are the louts representing politicians and politics of our country.
Is this
I
democracy
don't
for you?
believe anyone has the right to debase and to fall to such depths of abusing another political opponent.
शुभ्रांश राय, is this democracy for you? जहाँ पे कोई कांग्रेस के नेता कहते हैं कि आप मोदी और बीजेपी को मारो, अदानी मर जाएगा, ये तो डेमोक्रेसी नहीं हो सकती.
Mr. Suhail Seth, are you also ashamed
Padmaja,
to have been born in India?
Padmaja, it's time for technology.
Hold on a second, शुभ्रांश राय.
मैं बोल लूं? Sir. Padmaja, it's time for technology. Either you speak in Delhi, either in Dehradun, either in Durban, London, America, Seoul or China, whatever you say. Yes, if democracy is in danger, if our external affair minister, Mr. S. Jaishankar says कि China is a strong economy, हम उसके खिलाफ कुछ कर नहीं सकते, बोल नहीं सकते, बात नहीं कर सकते, तब लगता है कि 140 करोड़ हिंदुस्तानियों का सर शर्म से झुक जा रहा है. इस वजह से डेमोक्रेसी इज इन डेंजर. जब इस देश में कोई लड़की गीत गाती है और उसके घर पे पुलिस चली जाती है, आर्टिकल 19 का अवहेलन हो रहा है, तब लगता है यस डेमोक्रेसी इज इन डेंजर. एंड वन मोर थिंग, यू जस्ट हियर दिस बाइट.
पता नहीं पिछले जन्म में क्या पाप किया था.
This word is said by Prime Minister Narendra Modi in Seoul and China both. अगर देश का लोकतंत्र से निर्वाचित व्यक्ति अगर देश के बाहर ऐसा बोलता है कि पता नहीं मैंने पिछले जन्म कौन सा पाप किया था जिसकी वजह से मैं भारत में पैदा हुआ, यस मैम, डेमोक्रेसी इज इन डेंजर. अगर कोई आवाज उठाता है विपक्ष का नेता, उसके घर ईडी सीबीआई जाती, यस डेमोक्रेसी इज इन डेंजर. अगर आज विपक्ष के सारे नेता पार्लियामेंट के बाहर चलकर मांग कर रहे थे जेपीसी की, अंबानी अडानी रिश्तों की जांच हो, अडानी पे बीजेपी सरकार चुप क्यों है? अगर जवाब नहीं आया, यस डेमोक्रेसी इज इन डेंजर. Because opposition has only one responsibility. They raise the question for the nation and it is a responsibility of government to answer that question.
Okay, अगर ED के जाने से democracy is in danger, then the Congress in Delhi should stop clapping every time the ED arrests a member of the Aam Aadmi Party. Instead, they should stand outside with posters saying democracy is in danger. But democracy does seem in danger when a Congress MP for speaking in London is charged with sedition, or rather there are appeals being made कि उनको sedition, उनको देशद्रोह के लिए बुक कर दीजिए. That's not democracy either, Shazia Almi. Why should Rahul Gandhi be booked for sedition?
Madam.
Well, there are people who feel this way, and they're equally entitled to feel that way. Because when you go to a foreign country, you go to your former colonial master and you seek help and intervention from them, and you want to seek recourse, and you insinuate there is no democracy despite being an elected member of parliament, and you say nothing seems to be working here. Then something's, and you lie blatantly, and you say that microphones are being switched off, and you also say
you can be countered as uninformed, maybe even as taking political discourse to a new low. But if you are going to start descending to the same level and say we are going to throw you behind bars, charge you with sedition, that's not helping the image of our country either. Anyhow, the great thing about our democracy is that we can have this difference of opinion and we can sit here and we can argue about it all in a civilized fashion as well. I'm going to leave it at that. Thank you very much, all gentlemen and Shazia Almi, for joining me. Let's also hope that the rest of this session is not held hostage to this latest controversy.